How we doing, everybody, and welcome back to the Catalyst, where we break down all things bullish in the crypto markets. Not a whole lot of bullish news lately. The last few days have been a bit rough. We've rolled off a bit here on Bitcoin. So hopefully what's going to happen here, you've seen it happen the last 2 days. Actually, we have wicked out of the 55. Hopefully over the next day or two, we can find some really strong support off of that and then start to recover off of it. So with that, I'd like to do a little bit of a dive here onto AMP and revisit some of the points we made the other day. So the other day we were really focused on this crucial point, right? We had the support of the 20 EMA there, the support of the potential fib level, as well as this kind of rising trend line that we have there following the breakout of this big kind of triangle that we formed previously. So obviously what happened since then is the entire market, Bitcoin led it off with a big roll off, and it started to tank quite significantly. But one thing that's kind of interesting is if we go back to Bitcoin here, and we measure the price. So from that day, I believe it was from here. Oh, missed the ruler there. There we go. I believe it was from here. So we had about a 12% correction on Bitcoin. So let's go see where we're at with AMP from about the same day. So again, it would be from about this point. So yeah, 15% correction. That's actually not so bad considering it's an altcoin. Oftentimes Bitcoin will correct in some manner, and then everything will correct in a manner much more aggressive than Bitcoin's retracement. Same way as if Bitcoin goes up 5%, you'll see altcoins run up 20%. So kind of the same way there. So everything is still somewhat at play here. What I think is interesting, obviously, we did not succeed in finding the support necessary. We did actually bounce off that wick off of that several times, that key point that we were talking about. But the problem is the rest of the market kind of fudded out and rolled over, and then obviously AMP is going to follow. It's not going to just keep going. I think that's something that is destined to change at some point in AMP's future, whereas it won't be as critically dependent on Bitcoin or whatever. It's going to be more independently, viable, depending on its own path. So that would be kind of more as crypto gets adopted as a whole. That would be something that would kind of benefit from that. But one thing that's important to note is here, right? We're still creating a higher low, and we are still able to now kind of draw a trend line off of that, hopefully, and have it be somewhat meaningful. So let's see here. Well, first, let's get rid of the previous one, and then we'll go like this. So our trend line is a little less aggressive, but it's still possible. It can still play out, and you can still see, a reason to kind of buy into that and say, okay, now we can find some support here. The difference is now we have some potential to go under a death cross a bit. So if we were to do that, we want to hold this line now and find some really strong support on it to kind of make that death cross a bit of a fake out, because we can go into a death cross for about a day or two and then flip out of it. We haven't had too much in the history of AMP because of its age so far, but other cryptos have done that several times, where it'll kind of dip into a death cross and then quickly kind of bounce out of it after like a few days. We don't see a whole lot of that on Bitcoin, but I think maybe Ethereum has seen some of that. Yeah, so here's a perfect example of that, right? We had a big death cross right here. Boom, immediately ripped into a green candle and went right back, golden cross. We're talking in a matter of 3 days. So that was actually from September to October. So the last few days of September, and then boom, October hits and we rip up, 12-15%, whatever that was. That is certainly a possibility for us with AMP, especially if the price targets for Bitcoin are, remain. The other thing I think that's important to note here with Bitcoin in general, similar to AMP, we have higher lows across the whole thing, right? Boom, boom, boom. And they're almost like to the date, like 1 month apart each, right? So this was July 21st. We had another big low here in September. Even if you count these, right? These are kind of internal lows, right? August, September, October. This is when October started right here. Boom, we ripped up, and now we're into November. So I believe, a lot of people have kind of mentioned this, right? That we have this, we're still kind of laddering up. And I think if it was September, the end of September, and I told you that in a month's time or a month and a half, you would go from 40K to 60K, you would have been pretty satisfied with that. If that's any other investment outside of crypto, you'd be ecstatic. So kind of just go with the whole like when in doubt, zoom out thing. We still have, kind of developed a new floor for AMP. It seems something in this range. You can see we've teetered across it, basically since April or May. Since its listing, anyways, we've kind of been after it went to Coinbase, shot up, came back down. So June, I guess, we have been almost horizontal in the 5-cent range. And typically what happens is if we consolidate and we have such a long trend of consolidation like that, that means the longer we're in a trend like that, the bigger the rip up could potentially be. How big that will be, I'm not sure. But assuming this bull run does continue, which I think it certainly will, we could be seeing 15 to 50 cent AMP for all we know. It's very, very low market cap, so it has a lot of room to run. It's going to see bigger percent gains than a lot of other things. So yeah, 50 cents would be way up here. That'd be wild. But yeah, so again, just kind of keep in mind, keep some perspective with AMP. This is a long run token for us, and again, you just want to accumulate. This is anything in this range is great for us to be accumulating. In a year's time, you'll be hearing people talk about similar to how we talk about like ADA or Matic or whatever now, where we say, at this time a year ago it was 2 cents, or this time a year ago it was 1 cent. People thought it was this or that or whatever, and now they peaked out at $3 or $4 or whatever. So I think AMP is certainly on track to maybe not hit $4 within a year's time, but in 5 years or something like that, people might be saying, AMP is a $10 coin. Who knows? But yeah, just keep in mind, AMP is more of a long-term crypto. With that being said, too, it's okay to move some funds from AMP into things that you think might run up a little quicker, just to get more capital. If AMP is still your long-term play, I think that is a fine move as well. So, despite all of the bearish sentiment in the market right now, everyone's calling Bitcoin to keep crashing, whatever. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. Even with that being the case, if it were to be the case, I think AMP is bullish in general, just strictly from its utility and its adoptability, and kind of everything like that. So I would be, more than happy to continue loading up at these prices, because I don't think they're going to stay here for too long. So that is what I got for you guys today. Hopefully that was interesting. To sum it up, we did not hold that key point we had mentioned a few videos ago. We did end up rolling over with the rest of the market, so now we are aiming to find a nice bounce off of this. And again, that's going to be led by Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to make the decisions here for us, and that's going to be kind of the deciding factor. So all I got. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.